Welcome to Papua New Guinea Facts and History Hub. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most grueling and heroic military campaigns of World War II, the Kokoda Track Campaign in Papua New Guinea, a battle of survival, courage, and strategy fought in the mountains and jungles of the Pacific. Let's uncover the key dates, events, and heroes of this unforgettable story. In 1942, the Pacific was on fire. After bombing Pearl Harbor in December 1941, Imperial Japan rapidly advanced across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. By early 1942, Japan had taken Rabaul in New Britain and was eyeing Port Moresby, the capital of Papua, as a strategic target to threaten Australia directly. Why Port Moresby? Because controlling it meant dominating the Coral Sea and potentially invading Australia. But there was a problem: the Kokoda Track. A 96-kilometer jungle path through the Owen Stanley Range was the only overland route to get there. So began the battle for Kokoda. On July 21, 1942, Japanese forces landed at Gona and Buna on the northern coast of Papua. Led by Major General Tomitaro Hori, the Japanese troops began their brutal trek across the mountains. Waiting for them were young, inexperienced, and poorly equipped Australian troops, mostly from the 39th Battalion of the Australian Militia, many barely out of school. One name that stands out: Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Honor, who would later command the 39th and become a key leader during the campaign. The first major clash happened at Awala on July 23, 1942, marking the beginning of the Kokoda campaign. As the Japanese pushed forward, the Australians engaged in delaying actions, trying to slow the enemy through fierce jungle combat. The Battle of Kokoda Village occurred on August 8–10, 1942. Outnumbered and exhausted, the Australians were eventually forced to retreat further into the jungle. Another significant battle took place at Isarava from August 26 to 31, one of the fiercest engagements of the campaign. It was here that Private Bruce Kingsbury performed an act of bravery that earned him a posthumous Victoria Cross, charging into enemy fire with a machine gun to save his unit. The Australians kept falling back: Afogi, Templeton's Crossing, Irabiwa, until by mid-September, the Japanese were just 32 kilometers from Port Moresby. But Japan had overextended. Their supply lines were stretched thin, and they were running low on food, ammo, and reinforcements. Meanwhile, Australia was regrouping. General Sir Thomas Blamey, commander of Allied land forces, sent in the experienced AIF 7th Division under Major General Arthur Tubby Allen. On September 28, 1942, the Australians began their counteroffensive. The Japanese, ordered to withdraw due to mounting losses and the Allied landing at Milne Bay, began a slow retreat. Australians recaptured Kokoda on November 2, 1942. They continued pushing north until they reached Buna, Gona, and Sanananda, where the fighting grew even bloodier. The final battles along the coast were grueling. The Battle of Buna-Gona from November 1942 to January 1943 was a swampy, disease-ridden nightmare. Australian and American forces fought side by side to dislodge entrenched Japanese troops. By January 22, 1943, the campaign was over. More than 600 Australians were dead, and thousands were wounded or sick. The Japanese lost over 10,000 men, most to starvation, disease, or battle. The Kokoda campaign became a symbol of Australian courage and endurance. Outnumbered, outgunned, but never outmatched in spirit, the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, local Papua New Guineans, played a heroic role, carrying wounded soldiers, supplying troops, and guiding men through the track. Their kindness and bravery became legendary. The campaign was also critical for the Allies. It marked the first time Japanese land forces were turned back in the Pacific. It boosted Australian morale and solidified Papua New Guinea's importance in the war effort. Today, the Kokoda Track stands as both a war memorial and a pilgrimage trail, honoring those who fought and died in one of World War II's toughest campaigns. Thanks for watching Papua New Guinea Facts and History. If you found this video interesting, hit like, subscribe, and let us know what particular history of PNG you would like us to explore next. Until next time, stay curious.